Hello and welcome to Extra Hours, part of the Office Hours Global network. It's good to be back. My name is Grant. I am sitting in Adelaide, South Australia. I was just recently in Vienna, Austria. Do you know what's interesting is a friend of the show, uh, Oliver, who is from Austria, is actually in Australia at the moment. And so we swapped countries without seeing each other. So there you go. Let's have a little look who we have assembled here this evening to see what type of discussion we might get up to. Starting up at the top, the newly appointed CEO of Office Hours is Guy Cochran in Seattle, Washington. Come in, Guy.
Hello, hello. Welcome back from Austria. Man, that sounds like a heck of a trip. I wish I would have went there. In fact, I got to put it on my list because Jonas is out there and got friends of the show, couches to sleep on. So maybe I'll go
It's
tour
true.
Boink's headquarters. Yeah.
That would be nice. Down from Guy in Hollywood, California. Courtney, are you doing okay? There's been a daylight saving change. I mean, it's basically like jet lag for you now, right?
I hate it when this happens. I can't sleep. You eat at the wrong time. You get up at the wrong time. Go to bed at the wrong time. It's just a disaster. And on top of that, the LA Marathon was this weekend on Sunday.
Mm,
So, and
couldn't go
and
anywhere.
they've closed down Hollywood Boulevard because the Academy Awards are next Sunday, this coming Sunday. So, what a mess.
As you can see, our resident curmudgeon is Courtney, who always finds something to complain about, particularly if it's Apple branded. He'll be able to find something bad about it. Similarly, in that camp down in Texas is 1F Jeff Keithley. He can also complain about Macs, isn't that right?
I don't complain about them. I just make fun of the people that use them. That's all. Right? It's a big
Just-
difference. No, I mean they're fine.
okay.
We're actually, believe it or not, I've had to buy one. I had to buy one of the Mac Mini BIM
Oh,
4s just recently, and we're doing some testing with it because right now, if you haven't paid attention, there is a shortage of everything when it comes to a computer, but mostly RAM. And so all the relatively inexpensive boxes, like Courtney's favorites, like the Melees, the B-Links, and all that, they're drying up faster than can be because they can't make anymore because it can't get the RAM. I'm just hedging that we're going to have more Macs in our lives just because there are at least some stock. But I just looked yesterday and it seems like it's drying up too. Yeah, these are the times everywhere.
interesting. Wow. So what are you testing? What will you try to run on
That I can't say. I can say
it?
I'm testing a couple different things for
Just
this
in
project. I
general
can't tell you the
terms.
project I'm working on, but
Just just some
one of
general
them,
audio and video related.
yeah, it's definitely, yeah, definitely, yeah. Let's say some of it's backhaul, some of it is actually AI related. We
Mm,
are testing some new, it's a true AI system for camera control and camera
okay.
stuff, movement. Yeah, it's
Okay.
been interesting, but that's the right now. There's three in Iraq doing their thing.
Nice. Yeah. Well, that's cool. Well, look at that. Well, win you over more than we think. I know that you had. I know. I know that you. Guys, look at guys doing some scribbling around. He's being naughty. Um. The. Uh, oh, that's right. I was expecting you to say, "Oh, we have one Mac that we run Unity on." It's like that's all
It
that
is
does.
back
It's
there,
like an
and
like an
actually,
appliance.
that's what I was using. It's one of those old ones, M1s, right? Really old. What is that, like 5 years, something like that?
Hmm.
So I didn't expect
Still
it to
great.
last this long at all.
I
So
know.
it's just been running in Unity, but I barely use Unity anymore. So it's just kind of, I guess it's still running. As far as I know, I haven't checked in a while.
I know that M1s are still great, and I think they still say that M1 Airs, MacBook Airs, that you pick them up at Walmart for $500 or $600 or something.
Interesting.
Is still a great deal. Anyway, let me complete the panel. Way over in New York City is David Brady. Hello, David.
Good evening, Grant, and thanks for the invite today. It's been a while since I've been here. I've been traveling for some of the months of February. I actually do have an M4 sitting here new in box that the boss gave me a while ago that I haven't done anything with, but I'll get to it eventually. I'm actually hoping to get my everyday carry laptop is an M2 MacBook Air that I'm hoping to upgrade that more so than the Neo. But the desktop machine at work is a Dell. I don't even know. It's their engineering Dell laptop, so I'm agnostic in that regard.
Yeah, I tend to flick around.
Yeah.
The thing that I do most of my work on is Macs, but I have a bunch of PCs to do, particularly PowerPoint and bits and pieces that
Like real work
better
you do on the PC.
Yeah. It's all ones and zeros at the end of the day.
Real boring death by PowerPoint type experiences.
Yep.
The reality is the laser pointer in PowerPoint is better on PC than it is on Mac. So that's where it comes out.
Yeah.
Sorry, Peter, you've been very patient. Peter Sargent is also on the panel here. Remind me where you're at in the US.
I'm just to the north and west of Jeff in a place called Round Rock, Texas, which is the next town north of Austin, Texas. So,
Okay.
and
All right.
I am a Mac user through and through. I mean, right now I'm talking to you on a serious overkill machine called a
Isn't that
20
some irony?
Yeah.
Didn't you work for Blue?
And I was the first engineering officer to deploy Macs to my team.
Oh,
Wow.
So that's what we can blame for the downfall of IBM.
But, truth be told, Jeff, what I worked on were these big things that at the time I worked on them were measured in tons. They were the mainframe. So,
Right.
wow.
so I'm running right now on a serious overkill because I'm using my 2022 Mac Pro Tower machine with 128 gig of memory sitting inside of it, running at about 1% utilization as I run this Zoom
What
machine.
is that is that an Intel?
No,
Is
that's the M2
what's
Ultra chip.
Oh, M2. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's the
So it
special
should
one they
handle
built
Zoom
that
okay.
was done this way, where they married two M2s like this.
That's right. Yes.
All right. So
Okay.
that's what I'm doing, and I'm just getting ready to. I do a lot of volunteer show work for the Boy Scouts, and I'm getting ready to run a hybrid event next week for 5 evenings at 3 hours at a time with about
Wow.
1,000 attendees. So
Fun. Sounds
Yeah.
good.
and I thank Office Hours
Well-
for letting me do that, to be quite honest.
Yeah, nice. So sorry, Courtney. I think you may be the only one that's using a Mac as a coaster. I think you're
No, it's a prop. It's holding up my screen here. It's
holding up the monitor. Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
holding up the monitor.
Everyone
And
else
I
is
also
using
use it as
them.
a power
Well-
supply for my speaker.
No, I'll admit. I mean, I'm running on a Legion workstation here. This computer that I'm on. So
Okay.
Um,
All right.
yeah.
All right. Well, we've got it well covered. I want to say a quick hello to some people in the chat: Tamara, Karen, Ivan, John, Tommy, Mark, Martin, Ray, Mickey, Oliver. There we go. Up in Cairns he is at the moment, right up in the north of Australia. And Ray, it's good to have you all here. Make sure you post some questions and keep the chat active there. It's nice to have you following along. We've got a question we're going to get to in a minute, but I thought I would just do a quick show and tell. There was one thing that I did while I was in Vienna, which I think people would find of interest, and that is that I was, of course, I was going to Vienna. I was like, I'm sure I want to go see a couple of churches, like they've got these old, beautiful churches. And so, I want to do that. Before I got a chance, I'm flicking on TikTok as you do. and straight an ad came up for a projection mapped church. And I'm like, okay, this is awesome. This ticks 2 boxes for me. I'm going to go to a show. I'm going to go inside a church, and I'll get to geek out on all the setup that they do, right? So so this is the church. It's called the Votive, I think it's called. Now I've forgotten the name of it. Votive Church. Yeah, Votive Church in Vienna, which was built in 1090 or something, right? Like, it's just nuts how old these, particularly
Is
from
that
Australia,
a
which is
fallen halo up on the
so,
spires
well, yeah.
there?
So have a look. That's one of the things that they have on there. Look at that. It's very cool. Just like a figure eight lighting on it. So that was on the outside.
That's Meta sponsors that one.
Infinity.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
the spires
Yeah,
up to infinity.
yeah, infinity. That's pretty cool. But then, so here we are inside, and so this is just lights on at the moment. No projection. Um, just super cool, right? Like it was really nicely laid out and done with. But then we get to this part, so it's a 30-minute show, with all like cinematic music um, and so there was something like 30 projectors that I counted all the way through, and it's amazing how when it doesn't have to be super high res, like you can pick the pixels out sometimes, and um, but the overall feeling that you get is it just works, because it's more about light than necessarily high resolution. And so it went through a few different themes and things, and then it kind of went to this. It was cool. You might see in a second. This is only a 3-minute video, but yeah,
What
this
was it,
type of
timed to
thing
an
where
organ or something?
it wasn't an organ, but it was music throughout. And actually, it was interesting the way they did that too. The sound was just there's several several companies now that have the sub and stick, I call them. The PA systems that are just like a decent sized sub, and then a column speaker system. They used those throughout. They had them delayed throughout the church, and that worked really well.
Where did they
But
hide the
this was
projectors? Are they on that tree on the right
I'll
there?
show you. Yeah, I'll show you that. And so it was particularly cool when they did this sort of stuff where it almost was like a window, and um, they had some sharks and things go through at one point. It was very cool. But here you can see this is a little bit hard to see there, but there's projector up on a funny angle. There's 2 there, one going one way, one going the other way. And what was really impressive is the setup that they did for all the rigging is completely freestanding. And so they just had these little rubber feet that were just touching those columns, just gently touching the columns, but then everything is freestanding. You can see it a little bit better there. And so then really nice truss, that kind of was the same color. It just matched the building really nicely. Of course, you can't do much about the projectors. They're just hanging out. But yeah, they were everywhere. This is my buddy. And even the way, they kind of hid cables around, and all the cable runs were pretty good in general. I just kind of spot a few places where there was I was like, oh, you did such a great job, and then you just threw the cables over the top of the truss. But really nicely done. And then that was an old scissor lift, as we would call it. That was like a ladder that had a rope pulley system. I'm guessing it was probably to light candles and
Yeah,
things.
I used how the light the chandeliers in the Dark
Yeah,
Ages.
or the
Yeah.
gallows.
Right, right. Yeah. Yeah. So so that was super cool to see, and it sounded great. It was a really good experience. It sounded great. The music was um all original music, and yeah. So anyway, that was a fun thing to do. David, have you done some projection mapping?
Yeah. I just kind of got back from this thing that we did for my house of worship, in
Hmm.
California. There's this particular Buddhist monk who has an event that he calls Techno Hoyo, and he has it built into his temple in Fukui, Japan. But our organization brought him over as part of our national meeting, and then we toured. We had a service in Sacramento, Mountain View, Fresno, and um, Anaheim
Hmm.
over a week in February. I got something teed if you want. This is kind of
Oh,
the look
yeah.
as to what we
Yeah,
did.
please show and tell.
This room is just what you're seeing at the bottom is the Oneigen, the altar at the front, but this was two stacked Epson projectors that we had at the back of the hall, just using it for brightness. And we're given the illusion of having a super tall room space, but it's projecting onto the ceiling, and the bend kind of hits, and it's going to change look in a second, so you'll get a feel for what we were doing. The thing is with this actual service is it's literally the Buddhist service with all the chanting, etc. But he sets it to his own music. So here's a different look of the space, and you can see
Wow.
I'm sitting pretty much right under the projectors, looking into the room, and all this stuff is just
That's cool.
scraping the ceiling. It was really phenomenal. This was the highlight of the 4 or 5 shows that we did because we rented this gear. The other places we used whatever projectors the temples had, but we still managed to pull it off. We had my packed gear was like a scrim that we would hang in front of the altar as needed. But
Mm.
yeah, it was kind of
It's
cool.
hard to get a sense of the depth of that, right? Because
Yeah,
it kind of looks like it's flat, but that's kind of
That's all the
going
mapping.
into the room, the
yeah,
whole
yeah,
room
yeah.
in. Yeah.
It was super fun being part of it. We did it 2 years ago as part of the
Hmm.
9/11 service in New York. But then they wanted to do it again, so it's like, all right, let's go. We packed up our gear
That's
and rolled it in. But the best part for me, oh wait, there's another good look. That one. This is kind of all.
oh,
You can kind of get a sense of the actual room with the light that
yeah.
way. But the best part for me was that we rolled into these temples and worked with the volunteers at each place. So it wasn't like us coming in and with a crew of
Hmm.
people. It was like myself, the producer, who's a priest as well, the VJ, who's a priest, and then the translator. So the 4 of us rolled in and just made stuff
That's
happen,
cool.
and it was really kind of fun. Yeah.
It's fair to say it's not your typical Buddhist kind
No, no,
of
no, definitely not.
gathering.
No. But the other thing that was kind of interesting because it's a Japanese American community, and they can be kind of protective of things, but
Hmm.
once they realize that um, what they were experiencing is the same service that they've been going to year after year, Sunday after Sunday, it's just set to different music. You could kind of see that moment of like, oh, the aha moment, and it was really special,
Mm.
seeing that happen. I'm fortunate
Very
and
cool.
grateful that I was able to do it. So
Nice. Well, that's 2 show and tells. We've got another one that's based off of a question as well. What is that first question? Who's the reader?
It's me. Hey,
Oh, that was Courtney. Great.
first question comes in from some guy named Guy Cochran, and he's not throwing a Cochran here, but it's a lateral. And Guy says, "How would you handle a tennis production for a live broadcast?"
It's funny you should ask. Jeff?
I've done one this in the past month. Does that
Nice.
qualify me?
It does.
Okay.
You got show and tell?
Yeah, I've got a few things. I believe they've got it in the pipeline to be able to see it. So I'm sharing it Now, this is an event that we've actually done for the last 10, 11 years. We've had the broadcast contract for the last 6 years and still have it ongoing. So this is a deep, they call them in the levels of tennis, there's the masters or the big guys that are like the Wimbledon, US Open, Aussie Open that just
Australian
recently
Open.
happened.
Yeah.
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 Those are the really big ones, and that's like a really fine-tuned crew that has a lot of experience in it. Gravity Media is actually who's producing most of those, and they also have a contract for some of the 1000s, but we are bidding on like the 250s, so it is still full-on professional tennis and everything like that. And we were, for years, we were 10, 11, 12, 12, almost 13 years, we were doing the level right below the 250s, which is the Challenger circuit. And that's where a lot of our tennis experience came from, because that was anywhere from 40 to 45 tournaments a year that we were producing. And each tournament's 7 to 10 days, depending on the type of tournament. So this actual production was a broadcast production, so it was full on to ATP worldwide. So it is what they call a world feed. So it's kind of, it's not it's supposed to be very down the middle, not leaning one player or the other direction. So think of it as something that's very sanitary and very easy for somebody to talk over no matter where they're at in the world. And so they could pick, they'll have different people over it. They'll have this all goes back to London, so they'll have English guys there, UK guys that are actually doing the voice, and some people just take that, and then other people will take commentary, will take it without commentary at all, and then they'll add in commentary for their specific region that they're actually sending out. But it was in hundreds of broadcasters' hands over it, so we fed that. It was kind of a cool feeling. But anyway, we've done this out of a couple of different things. Last year we did it on one of our, we call it the LS box, which is our Live Sports is my company. So LS is that. LX box is a 20-foot container. This one is the van configuration, which worked out better this year for logistic reasons. And so that's where we were working out of this. In the van itself, we had 3 operators or 3 people in there. That's it, because we actually remoted a considerable amount of our staffing that normally would be inside. So it made no sense to bring a bigger truck or have to worry about the container, which actually seats 6, 7. So the van made more sense for what we needed on site. So I kind of go through that. We parked the van in the most advantageous places, also right next to the generator and the porta potty, because those things are important. You can't do a live broadcast without breathing in diesel fumes and whatever's left in the porta potty from the homeless
The
people at
poo and the
night.
power.
Yes, pretty much. And then we also had, this is looking back that same direction. You can see the generator in the back, but this is a little box that the ATP producer sat in, it froze in, because it was only like a 10-foot by 10-foot box, and it has like a 10,000 BTU AC in there. It's just so cold. But yeah, it's this little breakaway, get away, watch things. And then there's the other side of it. And the other thing we did bring in, let's see if I have a picture of it. I think we did the other way. You can see the pods in the background there. So we use that to get all the gear out of the van, empty cases, all what we call dead cases. And the reason for that is because it takes up space. So that's a 16-foot long pod, and that's all our gear, just empty cases and things like that we don't have to fight getting around in the van. So that works out really well. And then this is looking down the back side of the van, from the inside of the back of the van, at the back of the rack, and the rest of the workstations that are down there. I don't really have a whole lot of pictures this year. I have done this so many times, just like rinse and repeat the same thing all over again. But let's see if I can find a picture or two. Okay, so there's one. There's our this is an ATP director that we brought in this year. So he's actually from London and works for ATP Media all the times. His name's Joe, and he did a great job calling the show, directing the show, switching the show. It was very, I've worked with a lot of different directors over the years. We've been doing this for 40 plus years. So I've seen a lot of different ones. This was the first time that I had a next one. And so his cadence, as we call it, the TD cadence was, all right, camera 2 and 3's next, and 3, and okay, well, let's go 4 next. And so there was just kind of like this, and he's a very laid back personality. So it was kind of interesting to kind of get, it took us a day really to kind of fill out, okay, when's he going to go? When's he going to take? When's he going to, go to our cameras? So tallies were very top of mind, because if we didn't have the red tally and the green tally means you're on preview, red, you're live. If we didn't have that, we would have whip pans and all kinds of stuff going on,
Yeah.
because it was just really hard.
So if he was saying your camera number, you just had to assume that you would be
Maybe.
live, maybe
Maybe.
from when he said it to maybe right.
It
You
was
just
like that. It just really was. I mean, we
just
all
stay
have
live.
shot
Yeah, just
hundreds of hours of tennis. So everybody that works on my crew for this is, we've done this event together for years, and we know. And if you understand tennis and producing tennis, you kind of know when it's going to happen. When he serves, it's going to the wide camera. You know it is. But there's still all those times the typical director is like, okay, and for your next, okay, take 7. I'm like, wait, what? So
You're right.
that's just going to happen no matter what. But it was just a little bit, it was a lot. He was just so laid back. It was a lot different to kind of get into it compared to my other director that has worked for me many times. He's a really good friend of mine, and my cadence is a lot like his. It's very distinctive. And then here in the US, it's like, okay, ready, camera 3 and take 3, and ready, camera 4 and take 4. And so it's, the take is happening either on the take or the 4, depending on the person that's actually calling the show. So it just kind of depends, but it was a little different. And of course he spoke real English, as he reminded us many times. Like, I'm speaking real English, so you guys can understand me. But it was kind of fun. We had a lot of good jabs back and forth at each other throughout the days. Believe me, a lot of time together in this. And on the other side of this picture, you'll see those 2 hands that are poking out are my sons. Jarrett was running one of our robo cameras, and the robo camera was a little big. So this was what we were using as one of the ball follow replay cameras. This is a 95X lens, one of the Canon Digi Supers, and we had a 4K camera strapped to the back of it, which is these little box cameras that we've been using for years, the UB300s. And that is him wrestling it, working it, making it do its thing, and it's moving back and forth. It's doing all the same things that as if a person was sitting behind the camera could do. And that's where he was doing on his desk. And I'll try to find a little better video of him. Let's see. Yeah, that's the angle that camera was shooting, which is a reverse angle. And then these are the side cameras. These are 3 and 4 that are down on the court. And there's Joe again, and there's Jarrett. And you can kind of see a little bit of what we mocked up. And so that's a digital head. It's a Cortani head that has encoders and steppers inside it that are sensing where he's going, pan and tilt. And then also with rotation and everything, every move he does, it's reflecting it in the camera body itself, which was a kind of a hard thing to do and get used to. You had to be really soft hands, and that big old monkey right there has not got soft hands. So what we ended up doing was doing some adjustments to it, and I think I might have some pictures of the adjustments. There's a different angle of what he's looking. I think this is the video that one of the guys took. And you can kind of see on the viewfinder the latency that he was dealing with. That viewfinder is straight SDI, straight from the camera, straight to that. So the top left is the Mark Roberts software that is doing the tracking also at the same time for automations. So this system will do computer vision tracking. And then the bottom left is our shader shader machine, which was remote. We just had eyes on it just to be overview. So what we ended up doing is strapping down a lot of it. You can kind of see the gaff tape on the top. I just kept hearing rip, rip, you know, and you know the sound of a gaff tape. We have gaff tape being ripped open. So what we found is it had enough wiggle in the arms that it would reflect back through the camera and the actual PTAB, which is the head itself. And so after, I don't know, probably a half roll of gaff tape he put on this, he was able to make it work a little bit better. And
Just some resistance against it.
yeah, it was effectively, and that was the other thing too. We had it really loose, like we would normally run a camera. And that was the other thing, is he cranked it down to, I mean, he's a big boy. He's 6'6". So for those of you who have met him, you know he's a big boy. But he was just like, yeah, Dad, at the end of this end of the day, it's like my shoulders are killing me for some reason, because he was literally muscling it through to make it be smoother. Yeah. So that was, and as you saw the people walking in front of the lens, whole week, never changed. It didn't matter if that big lens is in the way. Yeah. But that was one of the fun new things that we did, was that reverse camera like that. And then we had a total of 10 cameras. We also had cameras on each coach's bench that we cut through that would make it really easy to get to. And then we had just the standard complement of 6 cameras and a full wireless kit. All of this was shaded from Pittsburgh. So we actually had, or from some people would call it racking, but basically the engineering side was all done from an operator in Pittsburgh, and he was tied together with our systems. And that's what I actually had a picture of earlier of this silly little, I'd say it's silly. I have a picture of his place. Let me see if I can get, okay. Yeah, there's Doug's place. So that's the sign view. And then we had also on the Stream Deck Plus, because we didn't have the Stream Deck Plus extra for large super duper box yet. But this worked out really well because he could sign iris, ND filters, and then red gain and blue gain on the knobs. And so it made it really easy. You just pick the camera you needed. And those were the most used things he needed to shade things. And we were using Nobe Omniscope as the actual software that was seeing the signal. Yeah.
So he was writing the iris, you know, not just sort of color matching and sort of
completely
he was
right.
totally driving.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just as if he was on site. Yeah, absolutely.
Was this an interior event or exterior?
No, it's outdoors. No, absolutely outdoors.
Yeah,
and so we had to fight clouds and rain and you name it. Yeah.
Do you get half shade across the court sometimes? Things
all the time, every day.
Yeah.
It was actually very dependable every day, except for one day when it rained all day. But that, you know, it was just clouds at that point. But yeah, the sun moved the same way every day. So there was a shadow halfway through about 4 o'clock. And we just have to fight it all the way down.
And then what's that low latency transport to get to the shader? Is that central control or what are you using?
Yeah, we were using central control for the WebRTC feed, which is actually in the top of that picture there. And so he has a really fast WebRTC that he developed, Joe did with central control. And so we were taking our video signals. We had like 4 different ones hitting different people and multi-viewers, and then also the shading too was also coming back over splash top. So we had 2 different views of what the cameras were, in case one or the other had any kind of hiccups or something. But he had fiber and we had fiber. It was actually very pleasurable. The other side of this was, I don't know if I have a picture of, you know, there's our people in front of everything. I don't believe I have a picture. I don't. I was hoping I had a picture of the remote setup that Mitchell used, and he actually was in Seattle, and he did full replay from Seattle. So he had 8 channels of replay being recorded, and he was remotely controlling the machine. So we do more of a hybrid REMI instead of a full REMI, where a full REMI stands for remote integration usually. Sometimes people kind of made that up at ESPN. But a hybrid REMI is what we do, where we're controlling the machines and the signals that are on the site. Whereas a full REMI would be taking all those signals back up to a cloud or to a remote MCR or something like that. So it really kind of depends on the application, but this works out really well for us because at any given time, if he lost connection, I had a controller within arm's reach and I could just step in and just take over. And whenever we're doing larger distributed productions where we're having multiple people doing replay, for instance, 2 or 3 people, then it's the same thing. Anybody could do any of those jobs. It's just flipping over to the right machine. That's all. So that was how we worked on this one.
Very
Oh,
cool.
there was one more
Yes.
new thing this year.
Mhm.
I didn't get to
While you're
get.
pulling that up, here's Mitchell's
Oh, you had a
LinkedIn
picture.
post.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so Mitchell's got the, what is that, a TIST? Or what is he
Yeah,
using there?
that was one of the TIS controllers I sent him, and he also has the SAN keys too, but he didn't have time to get it booked up, linked up with Central Control. There were some challenges in it, but yeah, it's a TIS controller which is talking through Central Control Core back to the machine that's in our through a VPN, of course, for security purposes. But that's talking to the machine in the actual van, controlling it.
So good.
Yeah, pretty simple for us. Yeah. Now, so
Yeah.
this was supposed to be his debut. We call him, but we really don't have a name for him yet. We're still working on a good name, but I was just testing out the actual Ronin that I got for the cameras that we have. Didn't work out. I could not make it be steady on the Ronin. So I needed the bigger one, the 2 RS2, I think it is. I tried the 4 and the 4 Plus or 4 Pro didn't work. But that was our car cam, and we rolled that out just to do some ambient shots and things like that. Not really using it on court yet. And then yeah, that's just my phone on there just to kind of get some footage of what it looked like strength wise. This is actually the actual camera that we're testing out with it, and you can see it's got a little bit of a weight issue. It's got a fatty head on it. So
Your suspension is doing you in there on the
yeah,
card.
and that's one of the, as you can see, yeah.
Whee!
So it's pretty stable,
Whoa.
but it's also very fast. So that we're still working on some of the tweaking of the speed, as you can see.
Pulling some wheelies.
I
Nice.
think you need
Yes.
some guy wires on that thing from the 4 corners of the card itself. Yeah.
It just tied down. Yeah. No, it what it
Probably a
is
wider
the
track too.
well, luckily we were tested this last
A
Sunday.
runway.
Actually, there's nobody on our parking lot out here, but we kind of blocked it off to make sure that nobody would come around the corner too fast. But
Well, I meant
yeah.
the width between the wheels.
Oh no, it's a pre-built thing that we finally found one that was big enough and was kind of designed for cameras, but it's the actual camera is supposed to be mounted real low,
Low.
and
Right.
it's just
That's
not
why
working for
The
us.
wider track would obviate
Yeah.
that.
You know,
But
if
the
it's-
first design of it worked out pretty well when once we had something light on it, and we're not going that fast when we're shooting. We're going slow, really slow. And so that's what we were trying to get to a bit smoother moves and things like that. And we're not taking it into areas like on the courts or places that people are. It's actually just in the fringe areas, just moving dolly shots and stuff like that for bumpers and all. So we did get some shots out of it, but that's a new toy that we've been playing a lot with, and I'm gonna redesign the base on it so it's not the flex part there, and I think it's gonna be just fine. But yeah, it's been fun to play around.
Do you do drone shots at all, or?
Yeah, we do. We have a drone. I have a drone operator. He's got his part 107 4TB or whatever it is, and we had a what is that? The Mavic Pro, Mavic 3 Cine, I believe is what it was, and it was a good drone, really good drone. Drone part's still
was.
great. Camera
It
not
was
so
a
good.
good drone.
It was,
Okay.
yes. Let's just say
Well,
they don't let Jeff drive the drone anymore.
Sometimes the tethered drones are used at some of those big events.
Yeah, we actually
and so-
have a pass. I mean, they ATP media, as long as we let them know, ATP know that we're going up in the air. Otherwise, they
okay.
really freak out. Bad.
Yeah.
Ask me how I know that too, because we went up in the air and then just they stopped play actually. So it was pretty bad.
Oh wow.
A couple years ago, but now we do just far off bumper shots and stuff like that.
Yeah.
it's just not effective enough in this environment really to go in, and you can't go over people, and you just you're just taking wide shots anyway. So it
Yeah.
works out fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Peter, did you have something to add on this one? Nope. All right. Next question, which is related.
All right.
got there, cool.
Coming in from Kenny Hampton in Greenville, Illinois. How is the camera gear protected during the rain with remote operations for outdoor events?
It's like, who cares? I'm dry. I'm inside. What
It's
does it
not my
matter?
equipment that's out there. And
That's right. I'm okay. Guy, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, actually helped out, excuse me, with one of these last year. And when it rained, because you can expect that it's going to happen in Florida, we had these barbecue, what do you call them? Just
Barbecue
covers.
covers.
And
Yeah, they're barbecue pit
barbecue
covers.
And then we had garbage bags just in case. And then these guys came out. So that's the rig I was running the handheld last year. So I was able to just push mine under a garbage bag and call it a day. But some of the operators that came out to clean, they've got this down to a science with these big blowers. And I don't know what you call that thing, squeegee deluxe or something. So they come out with an army of these things, and it is loud.
Squeegee Plus.
And they just, they clean and dry the court, and people come back. It's pretty amazing.
dry bony.
It's cool. Jeff?
The key is always as Guy says, it's not. It doesn't matter if it's Florida or anywhere else. We've done racing all this last year also, and every single event it raced. There was a race. Every single one, it rained one day of the week, or at least one. Sometimes it was three, but it's not a matter of if it's going to rain; it's when. Is the way we always approach it. And so, any camera that goes up immediately, doesn't matter if the sun's on it or not. Our policy is it gets what we call a working bag. So that means that the lenses, you can shoot through the lens. You have access to controls for putting your hand in the bag if you need to, but it's covered, it's protected, and that's without a doubt. Every camera gets a working bag to start with. Now, if we're getting to rain, that'll protect you from a sprinkle until somebody can get there. If you're getting into real heavy rain, then that's when the barbecue covers come out, and we just fully covered. We power the camera down. That's always key. You power the camera down so it doesn't overheat when it's in the bag. Again, ask me how I know. It takes many times to learn your lessons sometimes, but that's one of the things. You have to power it down, let it cool down, put the bag over it, and then you also need to bungee the bottom of the bag. So you have to wrap it around with bungee cords so that it doesn't come off whenever the wind picks up and blows. And you also want to make sure your tripod is also screwed down, bolted down, or tied down with a guide line for that same reason, so that a wind gust doesn't take it off. So that's my most. And microphones. That's the other thing. So if you hear rain hitting a microphone that sounds like it's just there's a certain sound. I know it so well because I've heard it so many years. But we use tubing available from Uline, which is you can get in 2-inch, 2.5, 3 inches. So it's a PVC tubing, so it's plastic tubing. It comes in a big flat roll, about huge. And then we still have one that's probably 5 years old. And then we cut off 12 inches, 14 inches, sometimes 20 inches of that, pull that back over the microphone. So the microphone is fully exposed, like shotguns are fully exposed with a good foam windbreaker on it, or sometimes, as we used to call them, a dead cat, but big fuzzy thing. Those are terrible when they get wet. They smell really bad. So we just come back with that tube, and when it starts raining, you just pull the tube over the end of it. So you still have an operational microphone. It's just more kind of muffly sounded, but that's our tricks for protecting equipment. Everything like patch boxes we designed ourselves, and we hang them in a certain way so all the connectors are on the bottom. They're weatherproof, literally could get just pounded on with rain. But that's whenever you're doing outdoor sports, you just have to be prepared. It's gonna rain.
What about lens condensation? When
It's
you get
rarely a
condensation
thing,
on the inside
honestly.
of the lens. Yeah. Okay.
It's honestly, it's rarely a thing. The only time it really comes to be a play is whenever Say for instance, you store your lenses overnight. Now, I'm from the South. I'm from Southeast Texas, so we have very high humidity here. I'm outside of Houston, and then also on the other side of the where we are in Delray, it's pretty humid there too because you're close to the beach and all, and it's Florida, swampy. So in the same way, if you put your cameras inside the van, for instance, that's on a AC that's cycling at 65, 70, maybe at 70 degrees during the day, at night, and it keeps doing that, it maybe cool down a little bit at night. By the next time you pull those cameras out, you will have fog in the morning. No doubt. So the policy is when we go in and put everything away, we sometimes we leave cameras out and they're out all night. That's fine. Because it's what happens to the fog when you fog up a lens, it's whenever you go from a drastic to a drastic. So you go from inside a van that's 65 degrees, nice and cool for the operators, and then you go outside and it's 85 degrees and humid. Yeah. Then you've got a very long wait. The longest wait ever is whenever you have that condensation just slowly getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And then you're supposed to go live, and that's your main camera. And it's that little bitty hole right in the middle that there's nothing you can do.
Sometimes we would leave cameras on overnight just to keep them warm. And so that it wasn't as extreme, as you're saying, that the temperature difference wasn't as extreme. Courtney, what were you going to add?
Yeah, the women love that because it makes them so you don't see wrinkles anywhere in the vicinity. I just wondered if during heavy rains, have you ever used something like the Spin Tech or a centrifugal rain deflector on the front of the lens to keep the big drops or spots from gathering in front of your lens?
Most of our applications, no, because when we're doing tennis, if it's raining that hard, they're gone. I mean, it sprinkles. Those prima donnas will come off the court
sissies,
so
they
fast.
don't want to hit the ball in the rain.
No, it's because when you really think about it, these are professional athletes. If they slip and the lines get slick when they get wet, if they slip, break an ankle, they're out, and that's their livelihood.
Tear a hamstring,
So that's the reason. That's the real reason why they stop for rain. But some of them are like, oh, it's sprinkled over there, I got to stop. They're very prima donna about it.
Someone spilled a drink, I've got to stop.
It's not hockey
on me, right? Well, one of the things though in racing though, it's just the opposite. It's just like we're going. No, change the tires, get off the slicks. We're still going. So Jarrett was out there doing a race and it came up. Man, it was a pretty bad storm, but we rolled for probably a good 20 minutes and it was just like sideways. And he was on a lift. And so we brought him down, but he was still just thank goodness. Again, we have a thing we call it between us, but also in our group is we call self-preservation. So when you go out to a camera on a course, a race course, you might not be able to come back for the whole day. So you have to have certain things like toilet paper, just in case.
Shovel
sometimes, but usually those are reachable. But the biggest thing is a raincoat, and also just sometimes just a coat, just a jacket to throw on when it drops, because sometimes the temperature drops. We were doing Sonoma over there in California, and it was crazy cold, and it swung like 20 degrees. It felt like through the course of the day. So by the end of the day, when the sun went down, it was nuts. When nobody wanted to be outside at all. But yeah, taking care of yourself, and that's part of it too about that. Courtney, is every one of the operators, they have to have a lens cloth, a true lens cloth, not their t-shirt, a true lens cloth to be able to, a microfiber type to be able to clean the lens.
But for the remote operated cameras, how do you deal with that though?
There's a runner.
There's somebody off the lens every now and then.
Yeah, if we have to. But like I said, in tennis, we're stopping, and so we'll bag up on the cameras. If it's a heavy storm, especially, we'll bag up. Or if it's just going to be something quick moving through, we probably won't even have to worry about the lenses. And we're usually locked off on a single camera just for the feed, like a wide shot, and then everything else is bagged up. And then, but in racing, we're still rolling. So it's wipey. Okay, get ready for your shot.
Yeah. Have you ever done the signing, getting the player to sign the lens?
We
You know where
did. We did
you
it.
do that shot?
WTA was really big about that, and that was about probably 4 years ago or something like that. Yeah, and that was we used plexiglass, and you just hold the a
Nice.
PA holds it up, and then the camera comes up underneath it, and they sign on it and stuff. Yeah.
Wow, guys, that's cool. All right, we're gonna have to go speed round. We've managed. We had one question there, and we managed to spend 50 minutes on it. And so so let's see how we go. Courtney, what's next?
Next one comes in from John Rocket Nichols in Northern Bay Area, California. John asks, at the Swell Airship show over the weekend, we use older Redrocks Micro controllers for focus and zoom. Some of the controllers were great, but others failed. Eventually, we'll get to higher end controllers. In the meantime, any budget-friendly ideas?
Guy?
No, it's going to be a rental. You know, it's one of those things where the good stuff, if you have camera ops that are used to shooting shows, then the stuff that that is cheap, it's hard for a real camera operator to use photo quality lenses. It was a great session, I will admit, still watching it behind the scenes and listening to Marcia call. And I kind of felt for her because she wanted the camera ops to do the traditional things with the big broadcast lenses like what Jeff was showing. But in the behind the scenes, this is from Rocket's setup. You could see here that we have this lens here, which is a photo lens. So the bummer about this is that you only get about 90 degrees of barrel rotation, where we get over 300 when we have a proper cine lens. So this mechanism, this is, you know, going through here. This is some wires that go to the handles. So if you're used to rotating that and getting a certain amount, it's just not the same to focus, to zoom. And so when the director's calling to rack focus, you just have like, it's super tough. And when she says creep zoom and you don't have servos, it's a photo lens. So yeah, it's too tough to do. So this is one of the bummers of not having, you know, a big budget to do these kind of things. But it was still an impressive look and feel for what it was. It was just a couple of us, and I'm surprised more of the office hours community didn't jump into the Zoom because it was really good. The quality of the images produced, the talent, the sound, Rocket doing his thing with all the Zoom rooms and providing us the ability to multi-pin was really cool. So I'm not sure what he's going to do with that footage. If he's going to, I don't know, tell us what you're going to do with that stuff, because it's fascinating if we can play it back and have Marcia recorded, because she's really good. She's one of the best. So she's remote in like Nebraska with an ATEM panel, calling the shots over comms, and then she's switching through a VPN. So she's actually controlling the switcher, kind of like what Jeff was just showing, but she's calling and then just hitting buttons, and we're watching her shots. It's amazing.
Very cool. Jeff?
I'll just say you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
And that's all I'll say, because that's one thing I had to learn.
The magic word
Well,
is
it's
Preston.
Yeah, I mean it's precision equipment too, right? Like, and so you notice the difference. If you just want it to yank around, and it's kind of like the PTZ cameras. You get the cheapest ones. They don't move very smoothly, but if you want it to snap from one shot to another shot, it's great. It's totally fine. If you want to do a live move with a real smooth, move that slows off at the end and the start and all of that, then that's money. That's real money. David?
Just a quick question. What is the Swell Airship show? And is it Zeppelins and blimps, or, I mean, what's the story?
Yeah, I could give a little behind the scenes on that. So there's a recording studio in the Bay Area that Alex Lindsay is behind the scenes on this. He's the one who had his daughter originally come in and do a recording there. And while he was there, he's like, you guys should do lives. And they're like, well, we don't have any cameras. So he's like, I got cameras. He's like, we don't have any switchers. We don't have anything to go live. So all this equipment came in from Rocket. I mean, bless his heart. He's had so much fun putting in all this equipment and working with Andy in Zoom rooms. And so it's pushing the limits of what we can do. And the idea was to have people in the community start to remotely operate these things. So it's a link in the Discord to basically
Okay.
start to see behind the scenes and see what's going on. But they're once a month in the office hours community.
Great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I found it fascinating
Rocket.
to watch and
Yeah,
listen to the calling.
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Rocket's in the chat just saying Swell is the production team. Airship Labs is in Richmond,
Got
California.
it. I was
We're,
thinking
we're
blimps,
helping
like
power the live
balloons.
stream and Zoom feeds. Yeah,
Okay.
that's right. And Mickey just said, does it really need to be RF? Just get a manual follow focus system and a whip, that's an interesting thing. I mean, I guess you can get nice and long whips, which is actually a mechanical whip, right? Like as in it's physically moving
Speedometer,
inside a cable.
speedometer cable, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh. That's a good call because you have full fine adjustment on that then. Nice. Next question.
Next one comes in from Brisbane, Australia. Gil Carter asked, does Starlink still have latency and dropout issues if used to broadcast a live stream? Can you bond two Starlinks for better results?
Jeff.
Yes and yes.
Hmm.
Use a peplink for bonding. They do work. We're doing it with the racing. We've moved to a Remy model this year for the racing stuff that we're covering, which is Trans Am series and TA2 series. So it's real racing, and SVRA, which is the best because it's like vintage racing. But we use remote cameras, the Air heads, which are Air ones, which are the robotic heads, and that's I would say each one of those usually are coming back through live view and or sometimes through fiber if we have fiber in the actual venue, which is getting to be fairly prevalent, but it's not always. But then we also have 4 cameras that are on live views, and those are manned cameras on sticks. And those we've actually tested with Starlinks, and we've just thrown down Starlink minis. The guy I'm working with, my friend I'm working with, actually does a lot of racing scoring. So they have called time trials. So you may have heard of it, like the Baja 500, Baja 1000. So whenever they go out and do those, go figure, there's not an internet pole to tie into. So they go out, and that's what they'll drop down as 2 Starlinks, put it through a peplink, bond it together so that they'll have good connectivity throughout the day and night. Yeah, but that's what we found works.
And you're finding that the Starlink minis are fine for it, and you don't need to get the bigger articulated.
If you have 2,
ones.
yes, yeah. But if you like to give them your money,
if you
you
have
can
to,
get the bigger one. Yeah,
Yeah.
But I would go
Fair
with
enough.
2 for redundancy versus just 1 big one.
Yeah.
If you got the money,
Yeah.
go for 2 big ones.
Yeah, and Gil, I'm hearing about more and more about how many satellites they've got. Starlink have. They just keep jamming more up.
Yeah,
there.
dropouts have become
so it's-
not a thing. I don't
Yeah.
really see that in our purposes.
Yeah.
Unless you're my
It's getting better
son
and better.
going off a cliff as he has in his car. So but they tend to drop out for some reason. Sideways.
There's a story there.
Yes.
There's a story there. Maybe there's a story for after hours. Next question.
Next one comes in from Tony Mobley in Noonan, Georgia. What is the best way to go for a house of worship recording 4 years worth of video on my M1 MacBook Pro? Only 140 gigabytes free of 512. External HD limited budget. Have to get it off my laptop. I guess that's on his internal laptop.
David?
I would say YouTube. I mean, my house of worship, we've been streaming since the onset of the pandemic. Everything is on YouTube. We get the metrics as to how many people go back to see the old stuff, and it's very low. So it's if you're just looking to offload it, just pump it up to YouTube as quick as you can and free up that space.
I think he may already have it on YouTube, and it might be the backup of that. At which case, I don't know, but at which case, doing a lower, a highly compressed version of it will save you a bunch probably. And then the spinning drives that you get. I mean, I get that you're budget conscious, but you get a 4 terabyte drive for not much at all. I mean, the SSDs would be great, but if you want to really save, you can get a spinning drive, and and put it there. It just depends how important it is, to be able to access. Good one. Next question. Oh, sorry, Courtney. You want to add to
I
that?
was just going to say get a spinning drive. So you said it for me.
Yeah.
Next question comes in from John Ittelson in Monterey, California. What do you think about the new Apple Neo model? And who do you think will be the big users of this computer?
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think the concept is cool to get the price down a little bit, but I don't think the price difference is that much. And then you're losing on a bit of connectivity with not having Thunderbolt and things like that. But I mean, as a kid's machine, like as a school kid, I would think they're perfect for that. I'm not all that excited by it because I think the Mac Mini at the MacBook Airs are amazing. That's what I use. David, you were saying about the M2 MacBook Air before, and that's what I had, and just replaced it with the M4, and it's brilliant. Like it's just amazing. I just ran a whole bunch of stuff on a big show when we were in Vienna. I was really pushing that machine hard, and it had no problems at all. I was running a heap of things on a couple of 4K monitors, and it just had no problems with a fanless, device. It's pretty amazing. Guy, what do you think?
Yeah, at first when I read the news, I was pretty excited at the price point, but then like you were saying about the Thunderbolt, that became a big issue for me because I have Thunderbolt devices that I plug in, and then that just took it completely off the table for me. So for pro use, you got to get back up to the Air, and it's to me it's worth the extra couple $100. But the processor's super fast, so for school kids, I think that's going to be the predominant user is education. So I hope to see some of these lime green or whatever that color is out there, and kids being happy with them.
Yeah, Grant,
Totally.
you mentioned earlier about selling the M1s in Walmart and stuff. I mean,
Mm,
you can already see it here. They're replacing the M1s with the Neos.
right.
I've actually seen ads show up on my phone
Hmm.
from the big box stores saying,
Yeah.
and it is exactly as Guy said. It's aimed at school kids. The other thing I heard that is interesting from a school perspective is the MDMs, the mobile device management software that's out there. Schools will love the Macs because they hated the Chromebooks for that reason. They weren't
Right.
manageable.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Courtney?
Yeah, I was just going to say the same. They're trying to recapture the school market, and they do have an educational discount of $100 off, so it's $400 for each one if you're an educational user. So
That is pretty good.
that's a good discount, and if they can manage the management of them to take over from the highly entrenched Google Chrome
Mm,
work in education, that's I think what Apple is trying to do.
hmm. And David?
Yeah, and I think also just the fact that they're on the same chipset as the phone makes that MDM a lot easier, et cetera, et cetera. But that I'm just curious if it's going to dilute their whole lineup by any means.
Mm. Well, I mean, Mac is notorious for the ladder, right? Where it's just like I'm going to go and get a $400
Get 'em hooked
laptop.
early.
And then,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, that's right. It's like, oh, but I really want Touch ID and I really want Thunderbolt. So I'm going to go up to the, $700, $800. Oh, and then only for another $100, I'm going to get a bigger hard drive and a whatever, right? Suddenly you've just walked out with a $2,000 MacBook Pro because, the ladder just kept on driving up and it made more sense. So yeah, we'll see what that happens. Maybe it's a decoy product that gets people in. All right, last question.
Another one from John Ittelson in Monterey, California. Tomorrow's Office Hours Focus Show will have Michael Forrest, the creator of Shoot Video Pencil and QCam presenter. The focus will be on storytelling. What questions would you ask him? At John
It's a nice
Ittelson. Yeah.
little promo there
Submit
for
your
tomorrow
questions
night's
now.
show.
Operators
Yeah,
are standing
exactly.
by.
Yeah, we'll have to have a little bit of a think about that. But I think storytelling via editing and that sort of stuff, I think will be really interesting. So I'm sure there'll be questions about it. we'll see what happens. Thanks for letting us know, and we'll start thinking. All right, we now move on to our panel content recommendations. Have to have a little think. Could be a YouTube clip or some sort of streaming thing or something. See what you come up with. Guy often bends the rules and has some sort of like software or something and loosely ties it in with a video that was about it. But we'll see what happens. Guy, go first. What have you got? Was that right?
Yeah, this one's just got me thinking. This gentleman will wind up most likely having him on our show here. He's a friend of mine. So this is Curtis Judd, and he came out with a video last week that really got some people scratching their heads. It's titled "YouTube Has Changed. What Do We Do Now?" So a lot of people over the years have become content creators, and so you've seen them rise up, and you've seen them just not around anymore. So there's certain people that did really well, and then they got addicted to the amount that YouTube was paying them, and then all of a sudden competition came in, and then now it's no longer a thing. So those that stayed small and didn't go crazy are still at it, and those that kind of flamed out because they just went a different direction. So this video answers a lot of the questions that I've had over the years as to why people aren't doing what they used to do. Sorry about the puppies. They must have saw the Amazon guy.
They're just like, go easy on YouTube. We love it. The dogs are not happy about you having a go at YouTube.
There you go.
Very nice. A good one. You post the link in the chat. Courtney, what have you got?
A couple of three things that came across my YouTube feed. One of them, if you're into robots, that is really scary. This martial arts robots is the new Unitree robots in this martial arts demonstration, which is mind-blowing because they're using nunchucks and they're performing with children on stage. And this other video is a behind the scenes on the preparation of behind where they were training these robots in a warehouse somewhere to do these routines, which is really quite interesting.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yes,
Yeah,
they're
that's right.
carrying swords and nunchucks, and they're robots. The other one is this one down here at the bottom, which is if you ever watch Corridor Crew, which is a visual effects website. These guys are here in Los Angeles, and they're kind of YouTube creators for visual effects. And this guy has come up with a new way to do green screens using AI and training AI to do a better job of compositing green screens for transparency and refraction and all that good stuff. So take a look at that, Nico. And I think they're going to release their own Corridor Crew green screen app of some sort. Maybe they'll vibe code it. That uses AI to train on several green screen compositing setups to solve all the problems like, fine hair and transparency of glass and refraction and all that stuff and getting rid of tracking marks in the background. So he solved all that problem. So if you use a lot of green screen or you do a lot of visual effects, take a look at that one.
Nice one. David, what have you got?
Okay, well, as a result of the video mapping thing I was involved with early last month, and I saw the one question that got pushed. The group, the VJ that I was working with uses Touch Designer by Derivative, and the way that he was able to adjust his show on the fly quickly and easily for each venue that we were at was really inspirational. It's a completely different way of doing visuals that I'm not used to. It's all node based, so Alex would probably get it. Myself, not so much, but I'm going to try to lean into it, and that's derivative.ca for Touch Designer.
Yeah, I was just going to mention too. QLab can do some pretty good projection mapping as well, and you can do it almost for free, as in you can rent it by the day, but you can play with it for an hour and mess around. So it's actually a really budget-friendly way of doing it.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, Peter, what have you got?
Well, having never done this particular section before, something came across my YouTube feed that I thought was only I could watch it on rental, but it seems timely given the rise of AI, and that is a 1970 movie called Colossus: The Forbidden Project.
Mm.
And
It's very hard to find on rental.
Where's
Oh,
but it's
makes-
actually I just
No
found it on
streaming.
YouTube. I just found it on YouTube, Courtney. I
Mm.
mean, all 2
And-
hours and some odd minutes of it.
Somebody
the
must have
best
uploaded
part
it.
is like, what are you making? It's called a martini.
Well, actually, my favorite part is the startup sequence.
Yeah. No, that movie is great.
Good one.
Wow. Let me see.
What happens if
Jeff.
AI goes wrong?
Oh. All right, nice. Jeff, what have you got?
For me, I'm gonna go hardware. Mine is, and I don't have it yet because I'm still waiting on it, but the new Stream Deck Super Plus Duper Duper
Oh, yeah.
plus extra large. All right, yeah, Peter's already got his in his hand. So there,
yeah,
that's that one to me is I ordered 3 of them. Maybe that was my mistake instead of just 2 or 1. But
right.
my goal is to put a couple of those on my desk and get rid of some of the others that I have to
So-
other purposes.
Does that
Peter,
have the
can you
same-
flip that upside down?
Yeah, I
Can you-
want to see the
Does it
mouse.
sit on your
Look.
desk upside down and just
I'm
rest
building-
with the current stand?
Yeah,
I'm
You just turn it
it works the
upside down?
same way as the old one did. You
But
just turn it-
Sweet.
you just
Can you
turn it
use
upside down.
the network?
However,
doodad?
Yes.
yes.
Just
However, I
not the
will
mic
s-
doodad.
Yeah, just not the
Okay.
mic need. But all I will say, Guy, is I tried it, and Companion has a bug in it.
Oh no.
When it's that big, it doesn't know how to rotate the buttons yet.
Oh.
Yeah, right.
Go to the beta. Go to the beta. I bet it has it.
I
Yeah, it probably
I'm
does.
tempted, but I have something to do this week. So
Don't go to the beta. Don't go to the beta.
That's funny. I was going to mention before, and it's not really content, but it's just a sneak peek or into something we're playing around with Ovio. Is that we're building our own Zoom SDK app, and Blue's done some amazing stuff with AI coding it. And the cool thing that he got working, I was talking to him about this concept, and we kind of built this idea together where we're using the live stream out of Zoom for the Mac app to inspect each one of the gallery images, and if it doesn't detect a human in the picture, it turns off their video, right?
Ooh.
But we've tied it in so that it sends a direct message to them and says, hey, we noticed that you'd stepped away. When you come back and you want your video started, because they can't start their video if the host turns it off, it just says, just type I'm back and we'll start your video again, right? So it's all totally automatic. And Blue used it on a show on the weekend, and it was game changing because just not having to use tiles, not having to do anything, it was like the gallery views were 49 faces, right? Like it wasn't a black screen, wasn't a ceiling fan, wasn't a whatever,
a cat.
right?
I'm not a cat.
Exactly. It wasn't a cat. It was 49 faces. And so it's super, super cool. And Blue just keeps like slamming all these ideas at it. And we've got some amazing breakout room control stuff happening. And yeah, it's really very exciting. The amazing thing is that we're really discovering that there are all these cool things that Zoom does that doesn't have it opened up in the SDK, and so they have lots of these sort of private API calls that are happening, and so they don't publicize what they are, and then they could change any minute, and so we're just like beating our head against the wall on a few things that like, oh, if we just had access to that or just had that hook, then this would work so well. But anyway, so it's just a tease as to something we're playing around with that's automating a few things. It's super cool. So I'm sure we'll get Blue on sometime and he can talk all about it. That can be another massive AI show too, Guy. Blue would be great with that because he's made like 4 or 5 apps that are all like, fully fledged amazing apps.
Is he using Codex or Claude?
So he uses Cursor, as his main thing, and then jumps between Claude and he uses codecs a little bit, or can use the codecs model as well, and so you can kind of jump between different models with Cursor. So yeah, works good. And surprisingly, it's working amazing to do a full Swift UI app, and the combination with the Zoom SDK, and not using Xcode at all. You know, it's just incredible. So anyway, we
Yeah,
almost
you
went a whole
finally
show
got me over to
without talking.
codecs. Yeah,
Oh
you
yeah,
finally
have
swapped
you
me over. So I've been on codecs all
done that?
day because of you. Because of
Nice.
you, I blame
Yeah.
you. More money, more money, more money. Actually, I went
That's
down on
right.
Claude and up on codecs. So there you go.
Fair enough.
Trying
That's a
it,
good way
testing
to
out
do
the
it.
waters.
We nearly went a whole show without talking about coding, AI, vibe coding.
Had to get it in
but
there.
we
Had to.
had to
Just
mention it at the
ram it
end.
in there. There
Very
you go.
good. All right, we have got to the end. Thank you. And to the Tlaloc traversal is 22,000 miles, 36,000 kilometers, 177 million bananas for scale. I think we've been over 200 before, so that's a little disappointing. It's probably because we were doing so much show and tell ourselves. Is probably what that's about. Thank you all for jumping in the chat and posting the cool questions. This show's it doesn't have a high question velocity, as you may have discovered. But every other day there are things happening with office hours, and so be sure to get your questions posted in there and hit it up on some of those morning shows. You'll get your questions answered. Thank you to the panel for assembling this evening. And for the back end team, all the you'll see in the credits here all the people that were making it all happen. Thank you, and let's do it all again next week. Thanks everyone. Bye bye.